Hello, my name is Kevias K and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to show you how to set up DHIS2, the latest version on Windows 10. So let's get started. Now what I have here are the files, the installation files, or what we need to get DHIS2 up and running. And so I will provide the links to get these files in the description. So the first thing we need here would be the Postgres to set up our database. All right, so let's go and get the Postgres. So for that, if we just go on our browser and search for PostgreSQL, then we go to the official website here, and that is going to bring us, we need the Windows 64-bit version. So you click on that. Let's go to download the installer, and here this is where we are going to get our Postgres. So we are going to use version 10.3. I would recommend you use version 10.3 or higher. Here we need a 64-bit, Windows 64-bit, so we download this one. Okay, so I have already downloaded that, so I will be canceling this particular download. Of course, here we have, so that's downloading Postgres version 10.13. okay, so now we have that. Let's go again. We need to have our Java installation files. Okay, so we need to get the JRE 8 version 8, and I think if we go to Java JRE download, and let's go to this, we make sure that we download the version 8. So if we come to this section here, Windows 64 bits, here the exe file. Okay, so this is what we need to download. So we click on that and check and download. Of course, I'm going to ask you to log in, I think oracle.com. so if you haven't already signed up, I think you have to just go create a free account there and log in with your credentials. So you sign in. Once you sign in, you can download your file. All right, so that is being downloaded, and I will just cancel that because I already have it done. So this is it, JRE 8 version 8.261, and the other one we need will be the JDK, Java JDK download. Okay, so for this also, let's go again to here. We need also the same way how we did, so you can download also this version here, 64-bit JDK 64-bit. okay, so we click on that and click OK, the same process. Then of course we can go get the JDK. All right, so I already have these files here. So you have the JDK, the JRE, and we have our Postgres downloaded. Then I think the other one is we need to have our DHIS2, the latest version. So if we go to, just type DHIS2 download and go to the official website, the download page. Here we will see the latest version released on the 14th July 2020. You click on this, it's going to take you, it's going to download that for you. All right, so I already have all these downloaded. Now what again do we need here? We need to get our Apache Tomcat. Okay, so again we do Apache Tomcat. Now for this we need to have version 8.5 and above. That is what DHIS2 recommends. I think the previous versions we are working on Tomcat 7, but since the new upgrades, they've changed drastically. So we'll get the version 9, Tomcat 9, and if we go there, here, Tomcat 9, and what we need to download is this one, the Windows Service Installer. Okay, so let's get that 32-bit 64-bit Windows Service Installer. Again, I have downloaded that, so there's no need, but just look that we need Apache Tomcat, DHIS2, the Java JDK, and the JRE and Postgres. So those are the files pretty much we need, and we have all of them here. All right, so let's begin first. I think let's start with the Postgres database installation. Okay, it's straightforward. Now all what we need here is, I will be fast forwarding the installation process because I think it takes some time to finish everything. So yeah, yes, it's just going next. So make sure that the PG admin is set up, stack builder is also ticked there, okay, in your command line. For the installation, the data directory, you can choose whatever directory you want, but I'll just leave it in the default programs files, Postgres 10 and data. All right, then you have to provide a password for Postgres. So here I will just provide 12345 and 12345. Make sure that your password you provide is complex enough. This is just for tutorial sake. I will leave all the default configurations and start installing Postgres. So I'm going to forward this now, and once it is finished, I will join you again. Okay, so welcome back. That took about 3 minutes to get everything up and running. Now this is very important. At the end of the Postgres installation, here you see the stack builder is ticked. All right, launch stack builder at exit. Yes, just click OK. Finish, and the stack builder is going to load. Now what we need here is we need to install. So we click this and select the Postgres server that we have set up. That's Postgres 10 here, and let's go to next. Then it's going to bring all the extensions that we need to install. Now this is very important here. We need the special extensions here. We need PostGIS. Okay, so this extension is responsible for the GIS application for DHIS2. So DHIS2 will be using this extension to create all these special components of the application. So here we will get the latest version, PostGIS 3.0, and go to next. Then the download folder, we want you can choose any folder directory where you want it to download to. For me, it's just going to be here, and we'll go to next. Don't check this, just leave it as it is here. So we want, when it's download, for it to install automatically for us. Okay, I will just check this, create special database, and that is fine. Then the destination folder, so it will install the PostGIS in our Postgres folder here, where we have our Postgres 10. Of course, the username here, we did set the password to 12345. So for the Postgres, that's what we need to provide. And the sample database, just leave it as default there and click OK. So what this is going to do, it will install for you the extension, the PostGIS bundle, and you will have that in the Postgres. So would you like to register the this environment? Just click yes, that's fine. And yeah, it should finish very soon. Okay, so we have completed our database installation. That is fine. Now to see that our database is running, let's just search here for pgadmin, because it did install pgadmin, and let's go straight to go set up our database that will be ready for DHIS2. Okay, so it's going to open pgadmin for us, and I'll just close these ones. Let's provide our password for Postgres 10, and here we did set up that it was 1 2 3 4 5. I will just save this password because I don't want it to be asking me again, and that's fine. Okay, let's just close all these ones. Okay, so we have here our database, the sample PostGIS it did create, then the login credentials here. All right, now what we need to do is first we need to create a user. I'll just create this user, and this user will be called the DHIS whatever admin, whatever name you decide to give it. I will give it, say, DHIS2 admin. Okay, that's the name of the user, DHIS2 admin. And the password, I will just write, say, 1 2 3 4 5, if that will work, and can log in. We have to later, I'm just going to set all the rights to yes, because I don't want to have any problems. Later on I can go back and change some of these rights, but for the installation I will just set up everything to yes. Okay, so DHIS2 admin and the password 1 2 3 4 5, then click save. So we have our user here, DHIS2 admin. Now we need to create a database that this user can use to for DHIS2. So we click on this database here, create database, and here we are going to create a database called, say, DHIS2DB, whatever name you decide to give it, DHIS2 database. And we make sure that the owner here is set to the user that we have created, DHIS2 admin. Okay, DHIS2 admin. That's all what we need here. So click save, and your database will be created. So after you create your database, so this is the database that we have created, the user DHIS2 admin. Now we need to come to this database, the extensions. You click on this extension here, and we create an extension. We add the PostGIS to it. So here we come to PostGIS, type PostGIS, and here we see here PostGIS. Okay, so you click on that and click save. All right, so we've created a PostGIS extension. We come to our schemas here and come to our tables. Right now you just realize that it's only one table, spatial reference, that has been created. Okay, so currently there is only one table in this database. All right, that is what we need for the database. I will just minimize this. Now there is a performance tuning if you are doing this for development, for production, that you have to go and set up some of these configurations for the Postgres database. All right, so I will go first and just shut down the database. I'll come to services, open services, and I will go right down to where my database is, PostgreSQL, and just shut down, stop. I'll stop this service for now. Now we need to, in the Postgres configuration file, to set these parameters so that the database can work effectively later on. When you are working, the performance is, sometimes you realize that your program is running very slow. So what we need here is, let's go to the program files and Postgres here, Postgres 10, then in there the data folder, then here you see Postgres configuration. So open this, right click and open with whatever notepad or your I will open it with the Studio Code, the Visual Studio Code, and this is the information that we have here. So some of the things that we need to change here is maximum connection. All right, so of course maximum connection, you can just search in this configuration file here. Well, I'm already seeing it here. Maximum the default is set to 100. You can go, it's a recommend to set it to 200. Shared buffers, I will just search here for shared buffers. Now it's 128, recommending 3200 megabytes. That's about 3 point something gig. Now mind you, when changing these parameters, you have to make sure that your computer is robust enough. Like I am using 16 gig RAM, so which means for this shared buffer it has to be 40% of the memory you are going to allocate, the size you are going to allocate to Postgres. So the effective cache memory size here, it's set to 8,000 megabytes, and 40% of that is 3200 megabytes. So that is it. If your PC is not up to, if you are running 8 megabytes, then you have to make sure that this is not up to that. It's scaled down a little. If not, you crash your computer. All right, but if you have above 16 gig, then that is fine. So here we have the shared buffers set to 3200. Then we have here the work memory. I'll search for work memory, and here you see it is disabled. It's commented right now, so we have to uncomment it. Just remove this and say we set it to 20 meg. Okay, and the maintenance work memory, this one set to 96, 512. Maintenance work memory 512 512. Okay, and what again, the effective cache size, let's look for that. This is it. So effective cache size, uncomment it first, and I will change this to 8, so from 4 gig to 8 gig. All right, so basically that's what is here. Then checkpoint completion target, let's also look for this checkpoint completion target here. On comment here is 0.5, change it to 0.8. okay. Synchronous commit, let's do this, check again for that. By default it is set to on, but we need to turn it off, so uncomment that and put it off. What again, we have word writer delay, let's check for this again, and yeah, uncomment, then this is set to 10,000. okay. Then we have the random page cost. Now this is, you leave it as default if you are using HDD drive, not if you are not using SSDs. okay, solid state drive. If you are not using solid state drive, don't use it. But because I am using solid state drive, I can change it from 4.0 to 1.1. So I can look for that. Random page cost, you see the default is set to 4.0, so because I am using SSD, so I can change that to 1.1. Then again, maximum logs per transaction, here we'll set this to 96. okay, So these are all the configurations we need. If more details is provided in the link on the DHIS2 page on all of these parameters. Okay, so just save your file and you are good to go. Okay, so I'll just close this now, and that's all what we need there. Let's go and restart our Postgres server. So we'll just start this again. All right. Okay, so that's all we needed for the Postgres. The Postgres is set up, it's ready for the DHIS2 installation. All right. So next we go to install the Java, okay, the JRE and the JDK. So again, click and we continue the installation process. Of course, again, I will be fast forwarding some of the installations. So if we check this change destination folder, we just want to see where it's going to install to. Now make sure that it is set, it's installing to program files and not the program file 86. Of course, if you have the 64 bits, if you downloaded the 64 bits, it will install to the program files. Okay, so we make sure that everything we are doing is going to be 64 bits, so it's installing to this folder here. Alright, this is installed. Now let's go again and install the JDK. Okay, so we'll go next and see that it is installing into this folder here, program files. So we go next. Install to, that's next, and yeah. Okay, so now that we have installed the tool, we need to configure it. We need to set the Java in the environment variables. All right, because we just installed it, let's see if it is set up. So if we just, in your search bar, just type for command prompt here, and just type for Java version and just click. Now it's going to provide you that Java version 1.8 point that, and this one I think it's already set. But if you are just doing this installation newly, what you have to do is go to this PC properties and go to advanced system settings, then go to environment variables. Okay, in your environment variables, this is where we need to set everything right. Now we need to make sure that in the system variables we add a couple of things. One, which is going to be the Java home. So I'll just open this configuration file here and show you quick. Okay, so we need to set the Java home to the program files JRE, and let's come to this our folder here. So here we create a new variable name and call it Java underscore home. Value, we browse directory, and in there we go to the C drive program files, then we go to Java, and we go to the JRE. I'm going to use this one. Okay, here's it. All right, so you have that done. Okay, now the other that we need here is to set the Java opts. Okay, so with these are the parameters. Just copy this configuration here. I'll copy this, and again let's add new variable name or Java opts and paste that in there. Okay, so these are the configurations for your memory, pen size, and those things. So that's okay. Now another thing here we need is the path to the JDK file. Okay, so in our path, what we need to do is in here, the path, the system variables path, click edit, and at the bottom here, what we can do, let's just create a new and browse to the JDK path. So we go to program files, Java here, and the JDK, then select bin. Okay, so here we have program files, JDK, bin. That's what we have there. Since we are already on this environment variables configuration, we need to also set the DHIS2 home to point to where the configuration file will be. Okay, so here we'll create before we do that, let's go to our program files. In the C drive, we have to make sure we create a folder there called DHIS2. So here we just create DHIS2, and in here, so you see C DHIS2. Let's come back to our variables here and also create another new variable and call it DHIS2 home, and provide that path. Okay, so that is what we need, DHIS2 home and the path to it. You can browse, click OK. So that is all what we need for our configuration. We have DHIS2 for the environment variables. DHIS2 is set to that, Java home is set to that, and Java opt is set to that, and our path, we have added the Java to it. Okay, so click OK, and we are set for the Java. So the Java configuration, that one is done. Now what we need to do is, the next step is to set up our Tomcat, Apache Tomcat. So for that, let's begin the process. Again, click next. I'm going to turn on the host manager to just here the service name, you can name it whatever. I can just give it a DHIS DHIS2 port 8080. Then what I'll be using for the host manager, just to log in, I can username, I can provide admin, and here 1 2 3 4 5. Cool. And now it knows that the Java JRE installation is set to this program files, and we go next. So it's going to install for us our Apache Tomcat. Okay, now when it finishes installing, don't run yet, just uncheck this and click finish. All right, so we have our Apache Tomcat. Okay, now in this I have a DHIS2 configuration file. You can create one yourself, or this configuration file. Let me open. What do we have in here? Now this file has all the configuration we need to point to. Let me open it. It has all the configuration that is pointing to the database. So what we need here is here we have the connection dialects. Here the things that we need to change here, the database name. Okay, so if we recall, we did give the name of the database as DHIS2 DB. Okay, if we cannot recall now, let's go back to our PG admin. But it was DHIS2. Okay, it's here. In fact, here DHIS2 DB. This is the database name, right? Now the database username, the username we did give to this guy here. So this is it, DHIS2 admin. So we have to change this to DHIS2 admin. And the password we did provide was, I think, 12345 12345. That was the password. All right, and the server base URL. So here it depends on how you'll be referencing your site. Now if you want it to be whatever localhost, let's say you have a domain that is called say example.com, then you have to make sure that you provide the server base URL, whether it's going to be HTTP or HTTPS. You can provide that HTTP example.com. So that will be your server base URL. All right, but since we're going to install it on the local folder, and what we'll do is later we want it to be called, say, localhost then / whatever DHIS say YouTube. Okay, we want it to be called DHIS2 YouTube. So when you click on this DHIS2 YouTube here, that's what you get, but currently nothing is running. All right, so we set that to it, and that's all what we need here, the configuration. So this configuration file here, you can create one for yourself. Just make sure it's named dhis2.config. We copy this configuration file to our folder in the C drive we created, the dhis2 file here. So we paste it here. Okay, so this is the configuration file that will be talking to the database. Now what we need here is so we are done with that. Let's go back to this folder here. We need to take the WAR file we downloaded and go paste it in our Tomcat installation, the Tomcat web root directory. So we take this, we go to the C program files, then Apache Tomcat foundation, software foundation, then click OK to load. Then in here we need to place it in the web apps. Okay, so we paste that file in here. Now because we wanted it to be, if we go back to our, let me close this. All right. If we go back to our configuration file here, okay, we want it to be referenced here DHIS2 YouTube. So we have to make sure that this WAR file will rename it to DHIS2 YouTube. Okay, so DHIS2 YouTube. Now, if you wanted to just call /8080, then you can just name this to root folder, so you don't have to call all the / after the port 8080. All right. So we have our WAR file here. Now, what we need to do again here is we have to make sure in the configuration, the Tomcat configuration file, we do something there. So if we go to Tomcat config, this server XML, we have to change some parameters there. Okay, so for that, what we need to do is, where you have this port 8080 referencing to it, and we need to make sure we set in here connector port. We need to set it to let me just go back to this guy here. There's this parameter relaxedQueryChars. We need to set this, just copy this and add to this configuration file here. All right, so in here, in your Tomcat configuration file, add this relaxedQueryChars to it. Okay, and just save. All right, so that's all what we need here for this, for the Tomcat configuration. And if we just close this now let's go back to our Tomcat. Here we need to start our installation. So the first thing we have to do is run the first one, the Tomcat DHIS2 exe. Then once that is done loading, we run this the one with the W. So run as administrator, right click, run as administrator, and it's going to load the WAR file that we renamed here, DHIS2 DHIS2 youtube.war. It's going to explode that, and we get all our files. Then it will write that to the database, and should be able to get it up and running. All right, so I'll fast forward this, and I'll join you guys later. All right, so once everything is done, you will see here the last message, server start server startup in this milliseconds. Okay, so which means everything is set. You can close this program right now. So close, and we go and start this other service now. So right click and run as administrator and click yes. Okay, so before I start, of course, if you are going to use this in production, you have to make sure that this is set to automatic, and your Postgres also is set to automatic, so that when your server starts up, it automatically starts. Here I can look at my Java. The memory pool is set to 256. I will increase this to 512 because sometimes I realize, that when you are doing some work, your PC, the service just runs out of memory, and sometimes it causes the DHIS2 to crash. So I'll increase it to 512, click apply, and go back to start my service. Okay, so once that is started, they tell you service started, click OK, and you are done. So it's going to take some time to load the DHIS2. While that is loading up, let's just look at our database quick and see whether it did right, because if you did not get it right, you will not see anything written in your database folder. So I mean in your database. So let's just check quick and see that it has done the work for us. So this DHIS2, let's expand this. So in our tables here, we see everything is written in here now. Okay, so if there's going to be any error, it will not come from the database. So let's go to localhost, localhost, then 8080. Let's see if our service is running. Okay, this is just for the Tomcat. If we wanted, because we did set it to run at the YouTube here, to run at DHIS2 YouTube, so which means we have to make sure that we use localhost /DHIS2 YouTube, 8080 /DHIS2 YouTube. So it is still running because it takes some time to load everything. Okay. Alright, so that is loaded. If we go now to /DHIS2 YouTube, okay, and voila, we have our DHIS2 here. Okay, so of course what you have to do, the default password will be admin and the password will be district, all lower cases, admin district. So if we sign in here, we have our new installation of DHIS2. So let's just check about DHIS2. Here we see version 2.34.1. okay, and we have our database here set up with the username. All right, so I'll provide the links in the descriptions. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment below, and hopefully I'll be able to address some of your questions. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe for future videos. I'll be bringing in more videos on configuration of the DHIS2 itself and so many other tutorials. So please subscribe and like the video, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.